Lakeland Electric was recently notified by the Department of Energy that they were a recipient of a smart grid investment grant. I'm here with Randy Dotson, Manager of Substation Operations and Engineering for Lakeland Electric. Randy, tell us a little bit about the investment grant that we recently received.
We just recently received a $20 million grant from the Department of Energy. It's a matching grant for smart grid initiatives. This would be to automate and add technology to the electric system.
And what does that ultimately mean for the Lakeland Electric customer?
Well, the exciting part about it is the fact that this now gives the customers the opportunity to manage their own energy usage and their own energy bill, so that they'll be able to determine what times of the day that they and what prices they'll be paying for that utility at that time.
Ultimately, what does the smart technology do for a customer? I know it includes a meter and a display in a home. Explain how those work.
Yeah, the heart of it is the meter on the outside of the home with two-way radio communications. And it will then communicate with devices inside the home, such as a in-home display or a programmable, controllable thermostat. Those devices then will allow them to control other appliances or devices within their home, mainly the hot water heater, pool pump, and air conditioning, to control when those devices operate during which times of the day. And with different pricings of electricity during the day, they'll be able to have the opportunity to use those devices during a time when it's less expensive.
And that was very important. I want to hit on that again. You're talking about different prices during the day. So Lakeland Electric would establish, and I know we already have established, we just haven't rolled it out, different pricing for electricity during the day, peak usage, and times when there's not so much electricity usage. Can you just explain that a little bit further?
Right, there'll be different prices for the off-peak and on-peak. It's called dynamic pricing,
okay,
or time of use pricing for that particular one. And that allows us to be able to let the customers who don't use power during the peak usage, when it is more expensive for us to generate or for even the state or the grid to purchase power, they'll be able to use power during the off-peak times when it is less expensive, when the more efficient units are running at that time instead of the more expensive, inefficient units. So the customer can then, as we said before, adjust to the time when their appliances are operating and save money on those operations.
Well, that's great news. And how does the two-way communications with the meter work? Is that explain how that's also going to be a benefit for the customers?
Well, that'll be a benefit for customers because we'll be able to get information to them, and they'll be able to send information to us concerning the usage. But again, only as they desire to do. It is something that we're going to allow the customer to do their own management. It's not anything that the utility will manage. So that they'll be able to determine from the information that we send down from the radio communications, they'll determine the pricing times and when they want their appliances to operate.
One important thing that we should note as well is this is a grant from the Department of Energy, and there's some time frames involved. Could you share with us a little bit about that?
There is some time frames. We initially have 6 months to start this investment. From the time in which we are finally awarded. We actually have negotiations scheduled for next week to finalize this award.
In Washington, D.C., correct?
In Arlington, Virginia,
okay,
actually, yeah. Just outside of Washington. And we will finalize those negotiations. And we'll have approximately 6 months after that time to start this process and 3 years to complete the process.
So in a 3 years time period, we will initiate this smart technology throughout our whole system.
This is correct, and we should have all the meters deployed probably within 2 years, but at least within the 3-year time frame in order to keep within the time frame of the grant. There's some other deploying. We'll also be communicating with some of our reclosers, some of our capacitor banks out in the system, so that we can be able to better manage their usage and the usage of outages. And that's an important thing also, is the fact that each meter will be able to identify to us that they've lost power, and that power to the home, to the business has been lost. And so we'll get notified immediately that there's been an outage. So instead of us having to wait on the telephone calls, we still want the customers to call in, but instead of us waiting on the calls, the meters will be calling in to us and radio in to us, letting us know they're out of power, and we can start that outage restoration process immediately.
Instantaneous notification.
Correct.
Will this include residential and commercial customers?
This will include all of our customers, residential, commercial. We will also have the capability of providing prepay to a lot of the customers, specifically the residential customers. But we'll have set up for that so that customers have the opportunity to be able to pay in advance and not have to worry about at the end of the month after they've used the power.
Well, I know this is more than a trend in the industry. A lot of the large utilities, especially on the West Coast, have been mandated to go to the smart technology. What does the future hold? Once we employ this technology, what does the future hold for our Lakeland Electric customers?
Well, again, it opens up a vast horizons for things to happen. The biggest thing and the thing that's most excited for me is the fact that customers has that ability to manage their usage. And that's what we really want to stress, is that it's the customer's usage, and how they manage it is important to them. It allows them to be able to reduce their usage and their bills. It allows us then to not have to build as large a power plant or build new power plants. The future, additional things in the future hold is more automation out in the system, that we can make these restorations of outages much quicker and be able to do some of that automatically. And that smart grid communications network is going to allow us to be able to do that.
Randy, thank you for visiting with us in the studio today and teaching us a little bit more about the smart technology.
Well, I thank you for having me.
This smart grid technology is going to mean a lot for Lakeland Electric customers. You'll have precise billing dates, but most of all, you'll be able to control the usage of appliances within your home.